Crazy. Legendary.
Perfect. We're sorry, the number you have dialed is more than...
Feynman go crazy. Legendary.
Perfect.
A lot of you question whether or not I'm here for truth. Question if I was a real flat earther or not. Well, the reality of it is there are no flat earthers. There are only globe deniers. Every flat earth evidence really is just a globe phenomenon, explained by the globe. Don't you see that? See, I'm still here for truth. Now there are certain people in my way. What is up, party people? Alright, so here's how it is. I had an epiphany. I was like, something needs to be done. Something needs to be said. And I decided I'm back. Check this out. I've sat around for the past few months now, biting my tongue on my stream, saying, this argument of flat earth is ridiculous. And it is. It's gotten even more ridiculous as I thought it could. I've realized a lot more people are not out for truth. And I realized that, hey, there was one thing I enjoyed doing, and that is making that completely obvious. I made it very completely obvious how flat earth was completely ridiculous. I've got the opportunity to learn things that I didn't think I'd learn or even care to learn. But here's the best part about it. I was invigorated to get back into the argument. Here, anywhere, it doesn't matter. Because Travis, I've noticed one thing, and I've one thing only, is that when I'm not around is when you decide to start your what do you call it? Swan G footage. And I realized something. You're still playing your old footage. You're not playing anything new. You're not changing your observations. Got to change those up a little bit. But even better than that, you can't explain how you come to the conclusion that you come to. So one thing that I have decided to do is make it very clear that you're wrong. Here's the best part about this, Travis. Yes, refraction does have its obstructed qualities, but physical bodies of water, physical bodies of anything, also have their obstructive qualities. The only thing that you're doing is denying that physical bodies obstruct. And here's the best part about it. You know you're wrong. Everyone else knows you're wrong. And now I will present it to all. Here's the best part, Travis. I did see you into your stream, and I think the whole debate idea is good and dead. So if I were you, I wouldn't try that. But hey, it's each their own. Whatever you decide you want to do on your side. But I can tell you now, Travis, anytime I can make it very clear how you're wrong. I can make it very clear how no. I'll make it very clear not to how you're wrong. I'll make it very clear how you only are explaining half of the story. Whether it's on purpose or not, that's not my problem. I'm not here to decide whether or not your intentions are there, good or bad. My goal right now is to explain that through endless videos that you've done, Travis, you've kind of skirted around one thing. And one thing only that matters to this whole situation, Travis. You ready? And I guarantee we won't get an answer. That is my prediction. Here we go. How do you know? How can you explain your idea? Now, here's what it is. I asked you this question twice, and you kind of skirted around it. It was all the part on Jose's when we were talking about this, and I said, hey, Travis, your refraction line and what's physically being obstructed does not match up. How do you know that what's missing is only due to refraction versus what's obstructed by a physical body of water, which is usually clear to see? But I didn't get an answer, and now it's time for answers. I want answers. Travis, your ether band doesn't make sense in one term, in one sense of this whole argument that no one's asked you. I watched those debates, and it's funny. Here's the funny part. I watched those debates, and yeah, those guys, they know all their terms, and they know all their reasonings, but they don't know how to talk to somebody who doesn't have the same view as them. What I mean is this. It's very easy. Travis, explain how you know what you think you believe and know. And if you can't, then therefore your ether band doesn't disprove globe curvature. It doesn't disprove obstruction due to physical bodies of water and or land, along with refraction, because that is the correct way of saying it, Travis. But yeah, I just want everyone to know that I'm going to push for it. I think it's fun. In the sense of, I know how to talk to fucking people. I don't really understand why all these people have to get disrespectful and personal. I have proven from time to time again, it's not difficult. I like how Seek and Find. You're welcome back on too if you want. I mean, we can talk gravity. We can talk the horizon. I can tell you guys right now, if you guys want to have an actual intellectual conversation about something with knowledge and facts, don't come to the horizon with me, because I think that's my quote unquote specialty now. But yeah, well, other than that, we must get on with the show. We're gonna have an open panel. Let me go ahead and get to the Discord, but first, don't want to miss that part. First, let me say what's up to everyone who's here. What is up, Fred? What up, Carl? What up, G Hammer? What up, Barney? How you doing, sir? What up, Digital? What up, Kit? What up, Crash? How you doing, sir? Let's see who else is here. What up, Bareny? What up, Flatlander? And I will get to that question that you asked earlier, and we'll see what's up with that. Okay, and let me get finished and do this. What's up, MG? My friend, my confidant. What is up? I said, what's up, Fred? What's up? What up there, Carlos? How you been, man? It's been a while. What up, Travis? You are more than welcome to come to the Discord server. I think I've given you invites. If you don't, let me know. What up, Arthur? What up, Angle of a Cack? Let me see who else. What's up, Bearded Devil? How you doing, sir? And I put that overlay up on my OBS. You were right. It is awesome. Thank you, my friend. I do appreciate that. Hey, Hannah. How you doing? Ella Miggs. What's up? Hey, what's up, Chris Jackson? How you doing, sir? Welcome to the channel. Let me see. And that's the other thing, Barney. So, Barney was asking for more precise location because you gave a crossroads, invisible water. Okay, here's the thing. Travis, if you're not willing to add data into your observations, which I completely understand, you've explained this to me. You don't really need to. But understand this, you can't kind of really give this is what it is, you're wrong, especially if you've already openly admitted that you're not interested in the data to look further into why and how things are happening. Which is another point I have to that, which no one kind of really called you on in those debates. So another thing that kind of ruins your argument is the fact that you've openly said the data doesn't matter to you. And if you don't have data, then your observations and denials of certain things don't have validity, really. Don't at all. Let me go ahead and go to the Discord. I will unmute the Discord before I even get there, so we won't have that problem. See, and then I'll see what's up. What is up, Davros? What is up, Stringray?
Hello, good sir.
How you guys doing? You all right, Stringray? How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad.
You sound exhausted.
Well, no, actually, I'm not in the best of moods. I don't even know why. Yeah, I'm in a terrible fucking mood, to be honest. So,
hang on, I gotta say, what's up, Real Truth? How you doing, my friend? Hope you and the family are doing good, and I appreciate that. Been tickering. Trust me, this OBS one you're looking at now, this is like I set that up in like 5 minutes because I didn't know I was trying the new stuff. But what's up? Welcome. Hit me up in Hangouts or something so we can get back and chat there, Real Truth. I don't want to say your name because I don't know if anyone knows you and if you want to stay on the DL. But hope you and yours are good, my friend. All right. Why are you in a bad mood, Stringray?
oh, you know, friends and money and business partners, not a good.
Oh,
Not a good combination.
damn. No, you fucked up.
Yeah, funny thing is, this is the second time now, so it's not as if I'm new to fucking up this way.
So it's definitely not even funny anymore.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
Says who?
That's the way it goes, because if you got fooled once, it's not your
There she
fault.
is.
But if you get fooled the second time by the same person, then it's your fault.
Well, the problem with this time is I'm down probably about. Last time it wasn't a lot, but this time it's like, I don't know. I'm down a Tesla, and I'm down to
$3.
I'm down.
You're down a Tesla. It's really Jesus.
Oh well.
Is that wait,
yeah.
Is that why you were walking earlier?
No.
For anyone who doesn't know, for anyone who doesn't know, okay, I've seen you ding a few times, and you know you're not like obesely nasty, in my opinion. No, I'm just kidding. But you're not a walker, and today our friend Stringray here decided, I guess, I'm gonna walk. Whether or not he says he does this all the time, I don't know. But I'm gonna tell you right now, when he came on that panel, all you heard was. And we were like, Stringray, it's kind of loud. He was like, I'm walking. He sounded like he was going to die. I was worried.
I was walking at quite a pace for a reason. And it isn't because I'm down a Tesla. It was just because I needed to walk. I needed to clear my head a little bit, and just sitting and stewing is just getting me a little bit more and more angry, I guess.
You want to know something really clever, Stringray? It doesn't matter how fast you walk or run. It's the amount of time you spend doing it. So you're better off walking slow for a long time than running and having a heart attack.
Well, that would depend on the aim, wouldn't it, really?
Oh,
Oh,
for anyone
no.
who wants to join the panel, there's a link in my description to the Discord server, the Bunker. I will verify you if you haven't been here before, and then you can join the conversation. Continue on.
But anyway, just to summarize this, when I say I lost a Tesla, I'm on about like 30, 40 British thousand. And the issue with that...
You want to borrow some cash there, buddy?
No, I'm all right. But the issue with that is I've lost that to someone who's got 300 times that amount.
Oh, so you're just upset a better businessman won.
No, a business partner that isn't a partner anymore, obviously.
Well, wait. Did he accumulate that with your?
No, he's a multi-millionaire, and he talked me into something of which I invested in. But then, in getting out of it, he made sure that he was absolutely fine, and that I lost, 35.
Lost your investment. So basically.
Well, it was. Yeah, it wasn't. That wasn't just my investment. I've recouped other things, but that's what I lose, and he loses nothing, even though he's got 10 times as much money as I have in the bank. So,
well,
it's like he's got buyer protection on your loss.
Yeah, but that's kind of why. You had a lot more than you.
But before then, I classed him as a good friend. Now, obviously, I do not.
So. Oh no! I guarantee you, it sounds like he's a much better businessman than he is a friend.
Yeah,
much better, and that's Stringray, and you know better. That's why you don't mix.
Yeah, I'll learn in future.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
No one does. No one does. We all do it. That's why there's a saying, Stringray. If we all learned our lesson, no one would say that.
Anyway, let's move on to the subject to, I don't know, occlusion without physical objects or something. Because I found that interesting.
Yes. Okay. So we'll move on because obviously Stingray's kind of emotional at the moment. We don't want him to cry, I think. Anyway, Travis has been going on this little kick about the horizon, him saying it's refraction, or I'm sorry, the ether band. But in this, all he's saying is that refraction is and only ever blah 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 blah. Isn't that kind of like saying a brick wall doesn't obstruct?
Hey, that's Anthony Riley.
I think there's better questions to ask there.
What's that?
Without using the subject matter at hand and only using either deduction or inference with examples, point to another object that is occluded or obscured by something physical that fits the same mechanics that you're attempting to describe, and there will be none. The only time these people can do that is pointing to the horizon where we expect to see this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. I keep trying to tell Travis, like, I make it very clear when I'm telling him that the physical bodies of water and his images are obstructing, or what's obstructing things, and then I always make sure I say, as well as parts of the refraction. Refraction does obstruct. You don't see behind the refraction, but the thing is that he likes to exclude the physical part. I don't know why. I mean, it is the most obvious. So
just really quickly, you can see behind the refraction. You're always seeing behind the refraction because you're seeing through refracted light. But you
know what I mean now.
Oh, I do, but but the problem is when you're in a semantics war with definitions and fucking words that have actual meanings, and you're talking to flat earthers, you need to be very precise at this. Refraction can hide things from the bottom up, but by hide, we mean it can make them disappear and refract light from somewhere else other than them where we would expect it. It cannot make it translate downwards and then pull the water up to occlude it in a very sharp line. That is not what we expect.
Now that I just realized it, would you even say that refraction obstructs? Because the light that we're seeing is the light that we're seeing. We're not seeing the light that's behind that doesn't exist as far as our optics.
Exclude something. Yeah, I would say it would exclude something, but not hide it.
Okay, yeah, that's
I
better.
would say it could hide it, to be honest, but that's just me because it much like a cloaking field hides a ship. The ship is still there. The cloaking
Okay,
field bends
yeah,
light,
yeah. If you put your
and
hand in front of your face, we know it's still there. Okay, I see what you're saying.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah. So it cannot occlude or obscure by physical means, which is what we see on the horizon. Now, if it can, any flat earther is welcome to show us refraction creating a physical barrier in front of something else to hide a portion of it. That is impossible.
yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I want to see them point a flashlight at something and hide it with the flashlight.
And that's the
pretty
thing.
much what you've asked for.
And that's the thing. I'm not even to the point where I don't want to see anything. I don't want Travis to give me an example. I've seen all his observations. I just want him to explain how. I asked. I'm not sure if you heard me pose the question to him. It was, can you show me how you know that refraction is the only thing obstructing in the images? And he kind of dodged it because I made a video overlay, like my friend Arabish taught me how, and it clearly shows a lot more obstruction than there is any miraging happening, any refractive optics happening. And he wouldn't answer the question. You can't. They don't match up.
Actually, what a better thing to do is to make these observations somewhere else.
I'll just go a lot higher and make the observations of bigger magnitude.
No. Piss the water off.
Seek and Find says, explain what you mean when you say the horizon isn't real world. Okay, I'll make this very clear. When I say the horizon isn't real world, the geometric horizon, which is basically a non-real world measurement because they don't add any atmospheric conditions in the measurement. The real world horizon that we do experience is called the apparent horizon because it is apparent to whoever the observer's location is, and it is not a physical and or a fixed location, so you can find. So make sure we clarify that, so I don't have to repeat it.
I'm gonna disagree with you there, Sean. Just because.
Well, on what?
All of it to take my mind off stuff, but also because you're wrong.
Oh, piss off, Stringray.
I would love to hear this.
The geometric horizon is a physical place, and we can actually calculate it.
Mm-hmm.
What we see is pointless. Listen,
cannot go there.
Oh, hang on. Let me finish that while I roll up my sleeves. Go ahead, Dean. Go ahead.
But whenever you're evaluating images through optics and the atmosphere, we have to deal with atmospheric distortion, most commonly refraction.
Yeah.
So we only see the apparent one. However, let me finish.
Yeah.
We see the apparent horizon, which is derived from the geometric horizon, but obviously that bending of light can shift it.
Yeah. Can I just field a quick question before you, Sean?
Sure.
Stringray, I would like you to calculate that geometric horizon, and then I'd like you to be able to go there and say this is where the horizon is.
I don't need to do that if I calculate it based on survey.
No. Yeah, you can't go to the geometric horizon.
Nope.
Wait a minute. That's like saying, can you go to the edge of a sphere?
No, it's not. If you're saying it's a physical location, then you should be able to go there.
I'm saying it's a constant based on survey data.
Now, here's the thing. Does that survey data constitute refraction? Or better yet, any atmospheric Okay. Now, when you make an observation, name one time you've ever made an observation and it had no atmospheric optics to account for.
I have not, and that's why I very clearly said that the geometric horizon is something that we observe through refraction and the atmosphere, and we call it the apparent horizon.
No, we don't observe the geometric horizon, my friend. We don't.
What do you think is refracting when we see the fucking water in the distance, then?
the apparent
That's
horizon,
not-
my friend.
Yeah,
No, that's what we call the end
No,
result.
no.
What do
See,
you
here's
think
the thing.
that light came
Okay.
from?
Here, let's do this again. Okay, Stingray. When you make an observation, how many times have you ever seen the physical horizon? Zero.
Define
Okay.
physics. No, define physics.
Oh,
you
no,
mean
no.
geometric horizon?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Huh?
Never.
Okay, perfect. How many times have you seen the apparent horizon?
Always.
Oh, yeah, always. Okay, so guess what? One is real world, one is not. When I say real world, or someone said it better. Someone said I should change that. What was it, Davros? Should I be saying?
What you see.
You're saying it backwards there. Real
No.
world is not
real
what
world.
you see.
No,
Yeah.
real world is what you see.
No, incorrect.
Yes.
Apparent world is
No.
what you see.
Apparent
No.
world is what you see.
Nah,
The
I say
real
non, and I
geometric
say
world
real.
exists.
Okay, I say real and I say non-real world. So I'll change the terms around a little bit because you know what I mean. But I'm telling you right now, the geometric horizon is like a blueprint. It's what we can make. We can look at it. We can make calculations on it. We can make predictions on it. But when we look up, we have to use the real world, what we see optically, for everything. In that sense, we do not see the geometric horizon. We do not see it. We do not
Right, are you ready?
observe it.
Let me just interject. So
Okay.
yes, we do see the geometric horizon.
You don't?
If
When? Where?
listen,
Answer
let me finish.
No.
Time step.
So we do see the geometric horizon if the following is true, that the variance between the optical and geometric horizon is so insignificant given the media that we can disregard it. So now what I'm saying is I see the geometric horizon from satellites from space. That is the geometry, because the difference that the atmosphere is actually causing to that geometry is less than a pixel of the image that I'm looking at.
Okay, so if you add that to our apparent world,
It
will it
doesn't
match?
work at 6 feet.
The geometric horizon is not a real existent thing. You never see the geometric horizon. You only see the apparent
Victory!
horizon.
God
I do
agrees
not
with
disagree
me.
with that.
Victory!
Wait a minute. Stop. I
No,
do not
no.
disagree with that, Barney.
Yes,
Except
wait, time
one
out.
thing.
You just
last
disagreed
thing-
with it.
no,
I just
no,
wait. Time out, Stingray.
I disagree with the first bit, not the second bit.
Hang on.
Stingray
You just
needs
get
to
to say, hang on. He just repeated what I said, and you completely disagreed
No.
with me.
I don't. Well, his last statement. We only
Everything
see.
he-
We
everything
only
he
see.
said, I
I
said.
absolutely disagree with what he said at the beginning. The geometric horizon. The geometric horizon is not
Show me.
it does not exist in physicality.
It
does.
doesn't.
It absolutely
No, it does not.
It is the
doesn't.
only thing that
Sean,
exists.
you actually can't say the
No,
geometric
no.
horizon does not exist. You can say that
Yes, I
you are
can.
incapable of perceiving it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well.
Okay, so then how is it there if we can't perceive it, go there, measure it?
Well, whose geometric horizon are you going to? You can't go to your own.
No, we
Because it
all
always
have the
changes.
same.
Can you go to
no,
somebody
the ge-
else's? Sure.
Your geometric horizon and my geometric horizon are the same. They're fixed locations for the
incorrect,
fixed. Yes,
incorrect.
it is. If
Incorrect.
we're looking at a map, because look, this is exactly what the difference
Sean,
is.
let me just
One's a
say
blueprint,
something.
and
If
one's
your
the-
geometric
what's actually
horizon
happening.
was the same as mine, would have to be intersecting, and that is a horrible thought.
Well, what I mean is that's
Stingray. The reason why I'm saying
Dean and
the reason why
Sean.
I'm saying
The only thing separating them is a D.
Hey,
Oh,
wait, time out.
Barney, go on.
Stingray,
Go on, Barney.
Stingray couldn't last. We know this. Poof.
Go on. Let's bring this to somewhere other than discussing. What were you saying, Barney? Because
the reason why I'm saying that it's not a real existing thing, it is an apparent artifact of a projection, right?
Incorrect. That's like saying I cannot measure without optics a geometric shape that exists in reality, and that is absolutely incorrect.
That's an overstatement. I can measure it from very, very many different points and then intersect them to find out what its three-dimensional shape is or four-dimensional shape
Awesome.
is.
And would you say that that
Yeah.
exists in reality then, Barney, by any chance?
Each of those points will give me various horizons. None of those horizons are real things,
Haha.
right? All of them are merely apparent and are incorrect, and you have to compensate for it. And there is no such thing that delineates that thing, because if it were a thing of substance, if it were a real thing that exists in itself and is not just an aspect of something else, then you could validly look down and say, I am sitting on the horizon. Because you are sitting on some perspectives, geometric.
So wait a minute. So first of all, then it comes down to definitions. My definition of the geometric horizon is absent
wrong.
an atmosphere, the matter which would exist and define a stencil edge that masks the physical from what is not physical in my viewport, given the survey data of my height from that sphere.
So
and absolutely, that is a physical thing to me.
So Stringray. So from now, I'm gonna be a dick.
Don't worry, I'll do it right back afterwards.
Rumpus again, Barney. Rumpus again. I like that.
Yeah. Well, what I've just heard you say is, well, there is this thing which I consider absolutely real because it would be here if it wasn't for reality.
And I will counter that by saying, if you're trying to say that something's not physical, and yet you're talking about optics, then by definition, as it relates to physics, you are absolutely talking about something physical.
You're not funny.
Yeah, no, Barney, I don't think I said that, but if I did, then yeah, I'm talking shit. But
So
the point about it is the geometry is a physical shape that exists, Barney.
The statement is, it would be here if we were in vacuum and there was perfect visibility and no curvature of light, and right? And
or I saw it, or I could measure it. Listen, or I could measure it with an instrument that is not affected by the atmosphere.
How? What instrument would that be?
Yeah, please tell.
The world's biggest ruler and straightest line. With that,
Okay, so-
do you not think I would be able to rest it on the
You just created the two things on Earth
You
that
would-
aren't real.
The one thing that doesn't
You
exist
would
on the
be-
planet.
You would be unable to produce. You would be unable to produce that ruler. That ruler cannot exist itself.
So
Because you
Stingray.
need an absolutely straight reference and infinitely.
We're talking about theory here, Barney.
No, sorry. Excuse me. We are very specifically talking about something being real. The fact that you are talking about theory when you're talking about things being real is why I said it would be here. You consider it real because it would be here if reality wasn't getting in
So,
the
Barney,
way.
let me ask you this question then. If I could create the world's straightest line that was true straight and a large object, and given the survey data of the height from the sphere, can I actually determine exactly where the geometric physical horizon would be from that viewpoint on a solid sphere, yes or no? Because I know the only thing I'm missing is the world's longest straightest ruler.
No, wait.
But
You
give
can
it-
borrow- hang on,
wait a
hang on,
minute,
hang on,
let me
hang on,
just-
wait,
let him just answer this. Let him just
Stingray. No,
answer
I'm helping you,
this.
Stingray. This is for you. This is for you. You can borrow that same ruler that people use to touch the moon or the sun, and then go. If I poke it, is it constant? That I can borrow that ruler.
So go on, Barney. If I could have that, would you say that I have actually touched something physical at that point? Yes or no?
If you could have that thing that cannot possibly exist because it requires materials that don't exist and that have properties which are in direct conflict with physics and reality themselves, then yes, you could.
Right, awesome, brilliant. So wait a minute, Barney. What you have just said is if I had the ability to create that, I'd be able to touch something physical. Now, my inability to create that or fucking measure it does not mean it still is not physical. Correct?
Yes, it does. Because you're unable to make that measure.
No, I'm unable to simply measure it at the moment. We've just inferred that it is physical.
You are trying to assert that an idealized concept and an oversimplification is the real thing, despite the real thing, right?
Bareny, yes or no? From 100,000 miles away, with let's say a 30-degree field of view, am I seeing the geometric horizon of the Earth in a 100-megapixel image?
No,
Why?
because you lack sufficient precision, because you will still get distortion from the atmosphere, and you will be seeing more than, like, if you go far enough away and then zoom back in, you will be seeing more than half of the Earth.
So wait a minute. So what? No, I'm saying on a 100-megapixel image,
No.
I've got the full view of the Earth in 30-degree. Now, if I can determine that the refraction effects are going to disturb it less or distort it less than a pixel, am I fine to assert that small distortion we can actually disregard because it's so small and it doesn't affect anything?
I fully agree with you that it is insignificant. I fully agree with you that it is convergent, right? I fully agree with you that it's useful. But I don't agree with you that it's real. that it has an existence in itself, right? It is real. It is real in the same sense that any path between 2 points is real. Yeah, sure, there is a path between 2 points. There is a shortest distance. There is the one that is most circular. There is the one that is all of those.
I'm hearing voices. This is really weird.
Somebody is muttering in the hangout. But
oh, thank God!
It's probably John.
It was quite mumbling. It was quite scary.
all of those paths exist, but those paths exist. The word is who is that?
John.
I don't know, but it's scaring the shit out of me.
It's John.
I think it's Davros.
No, it's John. I can see him gliding up. See?
Yeah, John. John, you're mumbling yourself.
Don't make me server mute you, damn it.
If I was mumbling, I would be telling Dean to shut the hell up because he can't make the thing to make his measurement.
Davros doesn't mumble.
So all I've got from this conversation is if we fail to be able to measure it with current technology or construction techniques, then it cannot possibly be real, and I disagree with that vehemently.
No. Okay, fair enough. It's real. It's real. It's just not actual.
Because
if you want to go that way, right? So,
well, sorry, no, it was the physicality of it that I was arguing against. I must have.
Dean, here's the way out, mate. You know as well as anyone. You make the calculation for the.
Distracting me. I like this.
Yeah, no, but listen. All right, it's pretty simple. Okay, you make the calculation to where that geometric horizon should be. You get your mate with the stick. You get your theodolite, and you measure the bloody thing.
I think you broke this.
Okay, so yeah, you from my point of view, from the way that I think about these things, you have just defined a category of a group of places in space which have something mutually in common. You have defined them through mathematics and geometry and said, well, these places in space, these coordinates in space and time, relative to this coordinate in space and time, are special, and I will give them the label horizon. But there is nothing that distinguishes them other than your choice, right?
Well, no. Other than the relative nature of the input variables, my height, the size of the sphere, and that I agree with.
Yeah. So, whichever way you try to measure it, you may get various different apparent horizons, but you will only by accident get that actual geometric horizon, right? Not through. There is no possible way of making your method or your tools accurate, sturdy enough to measure at those distances in such a way. You need to include. You need to correct for the apparent horizon. Where the apparent horizon, you can always directly observe the apparent horizon. Like, you will have various different depending on which tools you're using, but the one that you measure is exactly the one that you have measured. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I disagree with your original statement that the geometric horizon is a non-physical place, given the relative input variables of height and radius.
For me, what you're saying that really smacks of kind of lay Platonism, right? The ideal that I use to describe things to myself is more real than reality. So much so that even if it is completely impossible in reality, it is still more real, right? And that's kind of bewildering to me. I kind of have an issue with Platonism. Right? It is simple. It is beautiful. It is easy to communicate. It is easy to calculate with. One thing that it is not real. It is not existing in itself. It is existing through description. It is stemming from other things. Right? It is real because you have need for it.
Yeah, the optics of the situation have need for it as well, Barney.
Yeah, it's your pacifier.
Without it being physical, there ain't anything to see through the optics of it.
Without it being physical, but no, the apparent horizon is.
Oh, that was either me breaking up or you.
The apparent horizon is physical. This isn't physical. This is completely immeasurable. It is describable very accurately, but there is no method with which you can reliably measure it. You can only deduce it from various apparent measurements of the apparent horizon. The apparent horizon is something that you can directly measure. So I would say that the apparent horizon is physical. It is physically observable and measurable. Where the geometric is the ideal that we use to describe it.
I wouldn't say that the apparent horizon is even physical. You can't go there. You can't. You wouldn't be able to put a mark on it and then go to it and it be it.
If it was in perfect vacuum, if light was moving in perfectly straight lines, which it doesn't, if reality was described by geometry, which on some levels it isn't, it is very well approximated. It is a good idealization, but geometry can be infinitely subdivided where it appears that reality can't, right? There are smallest limits of distances and times and straightness and direction. So geometry just doesn't go as far as reality, or in some way it diverges from reality at some point. So it is useful for classical descriptions, for classical physics, for mathematical descriptions, for approximations to those quote unquote insignificant, like for good enough. Whatever your description of good enough is, it is good enough. But I wouldn't call that real. I would call that an idealization. Right? The ideal, there is no such thing as perfect vacuum. There is no such thing as a straight line. There is no such thing as a circle. There is no such thing, right? Those are the ideals. Those are the concepts. Those are the things which exist in our minds because they require fewer variables to work with, so it's easier to think about them.
I disagree with you.
He's just hey,
I-
Barney, he's just mad right
yeah.
now. You don't just let him go.
Yeah,
Have you
let
seen
him
it?
go. He's just being
I
concerned.
just-
Have you seen
I
it?
just
Barney,
think-
have
no,
you
I
seen
just
his
think
flat Earth models? I mean, come on, you got to feel bad for the
Yeah,
guy.
I know. Yeah, Stingray, I've got something that debunks your entire claim. It's called dark matter.
Awesome. Cool story,
It's,
bro.
no,
Now,
look, well, no, we can see the effects of it, but we cannot touch it.
that's
Real
fine.
Stingray's
Except
life.
I can touch the dirt and the ground.
Yeah.
I can touch the rim of a metal ball. I can measure it. I can optically see it, but the optics of it do not describe the physical reality of the situation. It is only an interpretation, or the optics provide me with a mechanism by which to see the physical, except it's not physical that I'm seeing. It's bent light. It's slight distortion. The physical thing, as in the geometry of the situation, exists, outside of my ability, outside of the atmosphere to be able to bend light and things. So, to me,
No,
just
but
my
even
opinion.
there, you don't have straight lines. Even there, like first of all, there is no perfect vacuum anywhere. If there was perfect vacuum, it would populate itself with virtual particles.
Yes,
Right?
but
So
it
there
exists
is no
in Bareny. It
uh,
exists in Bareny. It does not require me to be able to see it for it to exist. And the physical nature of
yes,
reality
yes. So
is 3D.
perfect, fine. So what we are talking about, what you call existing in that example, is noumena, right? It is
Yes.
what things actually are in themselves.
Yes.
We literally cannot get to that in any physical way. A noumena is a purely metaphysical thing. Now we can infer descriptions of it. We can infer things which must logically be true about it from its phenomena, from the things which reach us, right? And you would therefore say that the phenomena is the unreal thing, but the thing in itself is the real thing, and that's how it is commonly observed in philosophy.
Yes.
The problem
Would you say,
is
would you say that the phenomena is physical?
wait. Noumena truly is, well,
Hmm?
I do not have an answer to that question. No,
Okay.
noumena is metaphysical. Is it physical or not is beyond my ability to answer. It has physical phenomena. It appears to be physical, right?
So your best guess is that the noumena of a sphere, a solid sphere that we can observe, is physical, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that physicality has an edge based on our elevation from it, correct?
Yes.
And that
Now
physical stencil edge is the only. Okay.
Well, please let me answer, because
Yeah.
you've said the noumena of the sphere. Now, the noumena of Earth, the noumena of the planet, the noumena of well, the noumena of that thing that you're looking at is definitely real. But the noumena of that thing is neither a sphere, nor a planet, nor Earth, nor any of those things. Those things are the idealizations and simplifications that you use to describe an approach in describing that noumena, right? That's what I'm talking about. Geometry is a simplification in itself. So when you say that the Earth is a sphere and it has a tangent, which is a straight line, which from this point then describes a circle on that sphere, you are not talking about the noumena of that thing that we're observing. You're talking about the model. That model is made to approach as much as is useful and as much as is possible through direct measurements of phenomena, that noumena that has provided it, right? But it is not intended to be infinitely accurate, nor correct, nor so it is just a description. It is just a concept. Do you now understand what I'm saying?
I do, and I'm going to give you a scenario here. I've got a helicopter, and I've got a very decent LiDAR scanner.
Okay.
So the LiDAR scanner, the helicopters have stabilization rigs. They also have EM. They also have EM shielding because you get problems with the rotor and the engine. And you can fly this helicopter along a path, and with independent laser targeting, independent of the LiDAR unit itself, you can actually plot a 3D path of this thing with ground survey stations, and then you can get point cloud data of the entire surface that you're looking at. So I'm measuring this surface, and it's firing out obviously laser range and detection recording, and I'm getting all this data back, and I've got a huge amount of points now that represent this surface. Is it fair for me to say that those points represent or are an interpretation of the physical surface?
I approximated, yes.
Yeah. Now, is it fair to say that that could be my measuring stick by which I can determine, because that helicopter flies along, and because it's let's say we're doing something stupid, it's only 100 foot off the ground, and the LiDAR unit is directly the scan path is predominantly down, then yes, it's approximate, still going through a little bit of atmosphere, but it's going to be fairly accurate. That's my measuring instrument, and I can get to the horizon from an observation point.
Yes, to the apparent horizon, yes.
Yeah, I could get to the apparent horizon. However, I've just measured that I can now, with those sample points, measure, again, with a little bit of variance for the data, the physical horizon.
No, you can't.
Can I make a quick statement? Just a quick statement. The local horizon, also called the geometrical horizon, so not geometric, geometrical. Remember, we're playing semantics. It's a visible boundary between Earth and sky. The local horizon may include trees, buildings, and mountains.
That would be true.
Yeah. Sea level horizon is the geographic horizon at sea level.
I'm sorry, Stringray. I am now doing the creationist flat earther thing of looking and asking for absolute truth, right? But there is a point to it, because it is more than that. It is not merely the fact that there is absolute accuracy. It is the fact that we can invent our own categories that describe the things that we see in reality, right? When if I asked you if trees were real, you would of course say yes, right? By everything that we know that trees are, and that's a real category, that there are many trees.
Yeah,
a physical reality. A physical reality of trees, right? Yes. Now, if I said, well, I'm going to define bloop as any tree that has more branches pointing to the east than to the west, I have just created a new category of things. Or if I said that blob is a dog which has scratched itself behind its left ear within the last 5 minutes. Now, there is a category of things where other things are becoming blobs and then stopping being blobs haphazardly. And so all of these categories are having some relations to real things. They're describing them. Some of them are more useful, some of them are less useful.
Wait a minute, Bareny. That's a classification. That's not you are describing it, and you're classifying a description of something that is physical. So yes, you can have
The thing is that the things that I have described it with are also classifications of something. I haven't described it by that, right? I haven't uniquely identified anything. any specific thing. I have defined a set of properties that define those things. And anything that just happens to satisfy those things is that thing, by definition. Right?
Yes.
Classification and categorization are the same thing. And that's how we think. That's how we communicate. That's how we problem solve. Right? Geometry, mathematics is just that. It is eliminating, bringing everything down to the minimum possible amount of categories so that it is simple, so that it is self-consistent, and that errors become obvious. Right.
So let me ask you.
It is not mapping onto reality infinitely well. It is mapping onto reality sufficiently well. Right.
Yeah. No,
it is good enough. So when you say that there is a real geometric horizon, which is the actual real thing, and the apparent horizon is not the real thing, that, for me, is a nonsensical statement. The geometrical horizon is what is described by math in an ideal case, describing an ideal surface, and it's an approximation which makes the thing simple and useful. It is not the real thing.
So let me ask you a question then, Barney. So what Davros just said, he gave us the definition for the geometrical horizon. And that included, and it is just a broad term of where, solid shit meets the sky. It's that simple. So that could actually be me holding up it could be a metal sheet in front of my face that it covers everything and I can see the sky above it. Now, with that being the case, I know that with my eyes or with the camera, I'm actually seeing the apparent horizon that is caused by this perfect metal sheet. I know you're gonna have an issue with the word perfect.
Sheet. Sorry, finish. Sorry, I'm interrupting. My bad.
So let's say I've got this solid metal block or whatever, a girder. Now, it's of such a local nature now that I can measure the physical attributes of that. Now, for you to say to me that it's the optical horizon that I see and with the camera is the real thing, and the physical, which is represented by the geometry a bit, of which now, based on the local scale, I can measure to some extent. Jesus Christ, Sean, stop smoking. I stopped smoking 20 years ago, by the way.
Hey, I'm not. Wait for. You know what, Stringray? Fuck you. What the hell? Why did you just?
So anyway, Barney, now I can measure it. I can measure it, and I can prove that it's physical. Do you not agree with that?
No.
See, that is weird to me.
Yeah,
So
I don't
what
agree
you're
with anything you've said, Dean. I think you're full of shit.
You're talking about the outline, right?
Stop bringing us down, Dean.
I'm talking about getting a ruler, or some kind of synthetic straight line, or the straightest line that I can. Yes, it's always going. These. Yeah, no, I know it's not possible. But then we're just talking about the. We're just talking about the
goalpost, Dean.
No. I can measure it to the degree of which my instruments will allow.
Yeah, but I'm not agreeing with your parameter.
You're wrong, Dean.
Shut up.
Don't make me go Neil deGrasse Tyson on you here. Like, say you measure yourself with a tape measure, right? Where on that marking at, say, 5'10", are you? Are you at the top of the marking, the middle of the marking?
Don't turn this into something dirty, Davros. It's not worth it.
No. Think about this, Dave. Right? Say you measured at 5 foot.
Please think about this.
I'll be right back. I need to step out for a cigarette.
Make sure you measure that cigarette.
Dean will.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, who wants a fight?
Yeah, that's
I already had one of those today with a flat earther by the name of David. He seemed to think that
Dallas?
Australia was China.
You talking about Dallas?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh Jesus! Don't even start with him.
He tried to say everything costs What was it? Candy bars cost $1 for like 30 years.
Dave
What?
thinks. Okay, I want you to understand something. He believes he can create energy and sell it for like, I think he said something like a penny a something watt or something stupid. But he doesn't understand anything. Same guy who swears up and down there's a conspiracy and you can't drive to Russia or walk to Russia or even fly to Russia from Alaska. The man is crazy. He's gone.
He's not exactly the sanest individual I've ever had a conversation with, no. At the current moment, he's convinced that the atmosphere can only be made out of water gas, and that nitrogen, oxygen, CO2, and the rest of the gases don't actually exist.
He thinks San Francisco was wiped out by mud and technology was started over.
He believes he's been working on a basically a free energy device for 15 years, but he hasn't perfected it yet.
He also thinks that the North Texas Toll Authority, which is a state-run institution in Texas, is somehow owned and run by the Chinese.
This person just seems a little bit too far out there to
Flatlander,
conversation.
yes. The higher you go in elevation, the longer it takes you to orbit, therefore time slows down.
Yeah, you don't go back in time, it's just time slows down. So what happens on the surface goes faster than what happens to you up in orbit.
Exactly. And then time
It's
dilation is when you count when they sync those, which is wonderful because if they didn't, your GPS would drive your ass off a cliff.
Or into your mother's living room.
Could you imagine if they figured that out? Oh, my bad.
No, that's all right, Brian. Go on.
I was about to say, could you imagine if they figured out time dilation worked with GPS the way it does by accident, like they figured out when they had a flaw in the Hubble telescope lens, or when they realized that they programmed the Mars rover in feet instead of the lander in feet instead of meters?
Well, they got the units wrong. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's
Oh
why
my
one
God.
of the very
Wait a minute,
first Mars rovers just buried into this. It just cratered itself into Mars.
Oh shit! I think that was a fault of my local university here as well. Shit. Yes, but that Brian Lake,
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's another buddy. I want to have a conversation with him. He understands concrete grading, and he keeps talking as if he understands surveying, and he doesn't.
He's making me and Blue and Rumpus and someone else multimillionaires because he's going to send us a video of a working generator that's running on water.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a generator that's running on water.
Yes. So a normally aspirated generator.
Okay.
Using converting water into hydrogen and make an infinite energy machine that just runs making a
perpetual
just generating hydrogen from the water via electrical current, but then having more using getting more energy out than it's actually using to get the hydrogen out of the water.
You mean, oh my God, you guys don't put that on YouTube. Record it, memorize how he did it, and then call me. We can get Blue to build it, and we can be billionaires. billionaires.
The board's
Fuck
already full with members.
Faye.
We're just waiting for the proof to come through, Sean. I'm
Wait,
sorry.
what?
Yeah,
No,
what
wait,
the hell
huh?
is this we? What is this we shit?
Wait, what?
We my.
Yeah, Stringray. What do you mean we? What do you mean we, Stringray?
No, dude, I'm ground floor, babes. I'm ground floor.
Hey, so you guys aren't cutting me. Aw. Wait, Blue, what do you mean we? Hey, I gotta fit in somewhere. I gotta call Brian. I'm gonna be his best friend for a week.
You can be head of sales, Sean. There you go. You got the mouth for sales, I think. So
I don't know if that's a compliment
I'm
or
going to
not.
short the I'm going to short the company for when it comes out to be a fraud and make the most money out of any of you.
Yeah, I'm going to pinch the IP, and then you'll be buggered.
We're all gonna be rich. We're gonna be rich. All of us. Everyone on
The
this
insider
panel.
trading would be fantastic.
How high are you right now?
Do you really want to know?
The eagle has landed.
Seriously? Like you want like a scale? What do you want?
Accurate
Barney, you
altitude.
ever stopped at a stop sign and waited for it to turn green?
That's cool.
Dean
I wanna-
did when he
I
ran
wa-
out of breath.
I want to know what units you measure how high you are in, though.
Munchies. How many bags of Funyuns can you eat right
It's
now?
a Dorito scale.
Meters of what is it? Meters of altitude from the geoid surface of what's the word? Water level. What's it called? Sea level. Sea
Are you
level.
talking
Fuck
about,
it.
are you talking about the water in a
It's
bomb? What's happening right now? Is that what you're
That's the
describing?
unit in which you measure how high you are.
Yeah, okay.
No,
Just checking.
no, it's actually how many bowls of Doritos you can stack to carry out of the kitchen at once.
Wait, there's a strand called Doritos now?
Are those imperial units or SI?
Time out. You guys are making this.
No,
You guys are making this way too confusing. First of all, this is how we all know you don't. This is how we know you guys don't partake because you guys are confusing yourselves. It's all about the Doritos and the Funyuns and how many can you eat in a sitting is how you rate how high you are.
Yeah, but nothing sounds right about
And
Dorito
for all
measure.
the flat earthers in the audience, this is what it looks like when we double talk.
Double talk?
Would you call that a Dorito scale, a Doritometer, a Dorito meter? What would you call that?
Huh?
The thing is, you could
That's what
measure
it's
that
called,
in
huh?
CCs or Tostitos as well.
No, Tostitos are gross. Duh, those are crummy
Now,
little
look,
flaky things
all-
that get all over
all
your shirt in
proper-
the bed.
All proper SI units, all proper SI units are named by some famous scientist who has discovered the proper way. So I propose that we call the unit of how high Shanji.
Hear ye.
Is that
I
like the
agree.
Katie Couric measurement scale?
Everything's being measured in G units.
That's right.
In Shanji units.
Yeah. Do you know that the size of a shit is measured in Couric?
What'd you say? What the fuck? Why'd you gotta
Don't
go
you
there?
know that?
What?
Oh, we're talking about measurement.
Yeah, but I think
The volume
scale
of
of it?
fecal matter?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, see, that's not part of the equation.
It's the Couric equation for crap.
What is a Dorito
Thing
meter?
is, if you were having this conversation with a flat earther in here, they'd get all butthurt because we were having fun.
No,
Yeah.
that's just chemo.
At their expense.
Chemo's not allowed here.
See, we can have fun at each other's expense as well.
Wait, time out. You're having fun at my expense.
No.
This is the expense of the audience currently.
Those things are gross.
I'm just having
Well,
fun.
don't you just talkies?
Those things are fucking gross, dude.
What I like is when people complain about the conversation you're having in your
Oh, people complain? I had no idea.
No, it's like, hang on, if you're going to complain, just turn it off.
I don't read the chat. Like, I glance at it, but I'm serious. Like, just put it this way. If you don't tag me in the chat, there's a good chance I probably don't see it. I got like 4 or 5 screens going on right now. I can't just be staring at a chat. And it's even worse. It's kind of hard to have a conversation with people on a panel and just speak in general, reading a chat. It's very difficult. It's not easy.
That's why I come in here, because
Yeah,
it's like
okay.
talk to you, Sean.
It's even worse when like if you're in the chat and someone's talking to you. I can't stand being in the chat when people are like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like typing. Douche, douche. And you guys think I type slow. Listen. I just said hi. That takes forever. Fuck that.
Yo, Flatlander's actually been making the rounds. You got him in your chat here. He's been on Jose's chat. He's been in Jim's server's chat. I haven't heard his voice yet.
Flatlander's been around for a while. A long while.
Who's still wrong, though?
I remember Flatlander when I was a flat earther. That was a long time ago. Actually, I've seen about 5 or 6 flat earthers or truthers, I don't know, whatever way you want to call it, that have popped in the chat from when I first came around today. You guys may not have noticed it, but I did.
Yeah, I don't notice him always. I just met Bev for the first time recently. That was a treat.
Who?
Bev.
Who the fuck is Bev?
He's a flat earther who says that he's not a flat earther because Earth has hills, mountains, and valleys.
Yeah, see, I'm happy I don't know those people.
I like that Chris Jackson today on Jose's show. He was sound, really sound.
I talked to him. Was it last week, guys? About one of his observations of the sun setting and all that stuff. He's a cool dude. He's not there to try to trigger nobody. He has an opinion about shit.
Despite Lael trying.
Yeah, man, Lael's crazy. That dude got fucking issues. Like, he's like psychotic. He's like, we're talking about this, and the guy's like, we're done talking. He's like, no, we're not moving on. We're staying on this subject until you answer me now. And like, you kind of want to just take a step back and be like,
no, bless.
Breathe, dude. What's wrong with you? Just calm down a little bit. Yeah, he has issues, man. And the worst
I think a good thing to trigger Travis, by the way, I've just thought of this before I forget, is just ask Travis, say, okay, all your observations, all your research data, all this that you spent weeks and weeks doing, and you're losing out on money and all your complaints and things, have you put together any conclusions with any hypothesis or theory that sits outside what we already know about refraction? And the answer will be no.
No, the answer will be yes. He will give you his conclusions. It's just that his conclusions are not derived from his data.
He doesn't believe in data. He doesn't believe in data.
His data is the pictures. He doesn't need to know anything else about them.
Does he make any claims about it? You know, because he spent all this time. Has he come out and said, right, this is what I've seen, and this is what I think is happening?
That's literally where the ether band came from.
Yes.
And does any of that differ from our general understanding of atmospherics close to water?
Yeah, it's not quite as comprehensive as what we already understand, but no.
It literally is the exact same thing, except for when you get to obstruction due to physical objects, curvature.
Right.
Then he just purposely diverts from it, and then that's the end of the conversation.
I would actually say that he is genuinely doing one portion of the scientific method, right? He is in some sense a scientist, not a mainstream scientist, but still a scientist, in that he fairly accurately and reliably takes measurements of something and records them and stores them in some sense. And when you take a look at it, that's literally what Tycho Brahe did. That's what he's famous for. He did nothing more with it, right? Tycho Brahe's conclusions that he derived from his data are completely wrong, but his data has enabled Copernicus to come up with the laws of planetary motion. Just by the fact that Tycho Brahe every day went out and as accurately as he could have measured the angles to the celestial bodies, and had years and years and years of those recordings.
I agree with that.
Right? And Travis is doing that, but alongside that, he's also a flat earther, or aspiring to be a flat earther, and is also jumping to conclusions and thinking up things that he sees when he looks at those pictures and talking about that. And that is in no way different than Einstein's than Newton's work into alchemy and mysticism and spirits, and right.
Sorry, Barney. What has he actually said?
Barney said he's aspiring to be a flat earther.
No, sorry, Barney. You said he draws conclusions. Well, I must admit, I've not listened to his 14-hour stream yet. I'm not going to lie to you. But
don't worry, none of us have either.
But I've never heard him conclude anything about these observations.
Yeah. Refraction, or the ether band, is and only the only thing that obstructs, not curvature, not physical bodies of water.
Yes.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I have. Yeah, no, I've heard that. Yeah, of course I have.
It's his only conclusion, and he bases it off the fact that he can misinterpret photos and has no knowledge of optics.
And again, both of those things could be overcome, but he's not trying to overcome them. He doesn't have the time, nor the money, nor the will, nor to expand on that. Fair enough. He doesn't want to use the categories and classes in which the optics are described. He wants to use his own, but he doesn't want to constrain them because he doesn't. And that's fair enough. So his conclusions are unfounded in the data that he collects.
Barney, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Do you think refraction can hide something from the bottom up? Take my statement at face value. My question, but
Yes.
All right, good.
You would need an inverted gradient of density of the medium, or a gradient of indexes of refraction. When you do it with a Fresnel lens, you are obstructing it by curving the light upwards. So yes, you can.
Good. Just interested to see what you thought. Oh, here's a question then, actually, for anybody. Do you think it's possible for refraction to cause physical obstruction? That's an entirely obviously a different question. So by that, I'm meaning, is it possible for refraction to pull something up and make it apparent that whatever it's pulled up is in front of the object behind?
Huh.
So if I loomed a fence up that blocks something behind it, basically?
Yes. Well, it's actually a better example of this is imagine a concrete floor, and imagine some kind of gradient which would allow that concrete floor to be loomed up, but whereby the boundary edge, you might have a layer of an inferior mirage there, but the boundary edge seems to have risen up in front of an object behind.
You couldn't do it with a single uniform gradient, but you could do it with a series of gradients.
Correct.
Good.
Correct.
Because there's that lake. I forget what lake it is. There's an observation where I've seen that on video.
Well, they actually see it in the Black Swan
Because
photos
you-
because
you-
a portion of the second oil platform is blocked from the bottom up. In addition to there being a horizon behind it as well.
You can have multiple horizons.
What?
Because you can have multiple horizons.
Multiple apparent horizons is what you're saying.
Yes.
How can something vertically occupy the same space that touches the sky from physical to non-physical? You mean on about an inferior mirage type system?
Kind of like that. I've shown those videos of a laser being shone through a gradient of sugar, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know what you're
and you've seen it jump several times.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The observer that was looking at that would see as many horizons in that line as there are jumps.
But if the horizon is defined where something physical touches the sky, you would only see one there, though, right, Bareny? It doesn't matter that something would be occluding something behind, which is occluding something behind.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Trinity. I do appreciate that super chat. Chandri is a realist. I hope so. Thank you, my friend.
On a flat Earth, there would be no horizon. Right.
I don't. There's some bay video though. It's this bay and it's looking down and there's this like peninsula with a little town, and then
Skunk Bay.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, no, Skunk Bay. I knew. Yeah, I saw it ages ago, and I actually seemed to see the ocean rising up and creating apparent geometry which occludes the shoreline. Even though I know, from the animated, observation of it, the time observation of it, that it is not physically doing that. I just found it awesome, and then you can do it on a local scale, obviously, as well.
Sorry, since I have it stuck in my brain now, those gradients would have to be one of them would have to be inverse, so that the lines of light coming from that body that would intersect with your eye intersect with the ground first, meaning that they're curving upwards, but the ones that would curve upwards until they reached your eye first hit the ground, so there is no light coming from the bottom of that object, and then after that you get a normal gradient which looms things normally, that would then bring the image back down. And that's how you could get obstruction from the bottom merely through refraction through the atmosphere. I think.
That's something you think could happen on a routine basis, Barney?
No.
My assessment too.
No.
I mean,
it's a sincere answer. Yeah. It's a sincere answer to the question of do I think it is possible, or do I think that there is any way in which it could happen? Yes. Do I think it's a stable, persistent effect? No.
Yeah,
we can consistently measure that the pressure is consistently higher, density is consistently higher lower down than higher up. Therefore, you have to have an overall persistent looming effect.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's the gigantic hole in the black swan argument, because most of the time we don't see that. Most of the time we see a horizon that is in front of objects that we can see. So that abnormal condition is not an explanation for what we see on a normal day.
So I know the flat Earth argument to that. We do see it on a normal day. We see it every single day. It's what you call a geometric curve. That's what they think the refraction is doing. And since it is possible, you've all just admitted it.
That is such a bullshit argument.
Yeah, and
Absolute
that argument comes up when people ignore the size of the effect, right? Is the effect possible, or can it appear? Yes. How much of an effect would be? It would be, how persistent would it be, in how often should we perceive it, and what measurements should we then expect here where we are, not there at the horizon, but here where we are, if that is a persistent effect. And we would have to have an inverted atmosphere. We would have to have all of the density up there and none of it here. And that's not something that we see wherever we go, right? When you can get it in a small local place if you have cold air over a hot surface, so there's a layer that gets heated up and then becomes less dense due to thermal expansion, right? So then you can get an area, a layer, an ether band, right?
No, I didn't like it when you said the concept of ether lives on either. That's like breaking something down into component parts, and because 2 component parts out of 50 and the smallest component parts are still considered in using different terms in quantum physics, therefore ether has adapted into something else. It's like, no, that's just weird.
So in the context of what we were just talking about a little while ago, my exact statement would be something like, there is no nominal ether. There is no ether which has its own nomina, which is its own substance that exists in itself. But those properties that were assigned to ether, while we didn't know, that described that set of properties which fit into that one concept of ether, can still be group named by that label, right? In the same sense that once we find out what dark matter is, actually, if we find out that it is not one thing, but it's 6 different things, each of which contributes one component of dark matter, you could still label all of those things together as dark matter.
That's a good point.
Right. In that sense, that's what I was talking on Shanji's. That's some while I was in Morocco, right? In that sense, ether has been the properties of ether are all of those properties which were required essential are found in quantum foam, in the curvature of space-time, in the right. That is ether. That is what was required of ether. That is why serious scientists and philosophers thought that there was ether. But there is no substance of ether. There is no ether in itself.
Well, that's just because you argue from an atheistic paradigm that won't allow you to escape the Luciferian plot.
I'm going to slap you. God damn it.
Could be.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pull Captain Cinnamon out at you.
I think if Satan was real, he would be somebody like me.
Well, yeah, you are God.
I am God.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Oh, no, you're not.
By presuppositional argument, I am that God. I'm not merely a God. I am the God.
Yes. Agreed.
Apparently, you haven't seen my 10-second video.
And if that's the case, there's one thing I can tell you about the God. the God is an atheist.
I would hope so. Otherwise, he wouldn't be. Oddly enough. That doesn't. What the fuck? Yeah, that's some crazy. If there is a God, he is an atheist. Wow.
The only one
That's
that
some
wouldn't
shit.
the only one that would not apply to would be Brahma.
He can't exist. There's only one God. Come on, man.
No, wait. Brahma actually said that. Brahma actually taught that there were many minor gods of other religions, and that they could offer you things, but
Yeah, there's only
but
one.
they only offer what Brahma allows them to.
Yeah, but there's only one, and that's Barney.
See, Barney's just talking. I can prove what I'm saying. Play what I just posted, dear Sean. May I have your attention, please? This is God. The earth is a sphere. That is all.
That
voice.
That's that sounds like God. You got something to say for that, Barney? Because that sounds godly.
What am I saying? What am I looking at? Where should I look?
Blue just posted something in the chat. You should listen to it.
May I have your attention, please? This is God. The earth is a sphere. That is all.
Sounds legit.
Yeah, it does. I didn't hear no audio cuts, no editing, no doctoring.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean,
You're more than welcome to play that for the stream if you want to.
thank you, sir. Yeah, they got to hear it.
That's primary source evidence.
Yeah. I mean, what can you can't prove it wrong. Better yet, prove it wrong.
You have second-hand recordings of God that God told men and men wrote it down. I have primary source. I have a recording of God saying it himself.
But isn't that recording secondhand though?
No. It's first-hand.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I can trust it. It says in the recording itself. It says that it is God.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. We don't have to presuppose.
He's self-identified, and we know that God doesn't lie, and he's perfect and right.
Yeah,
Are you saying that God couldn't have created that recording?
Oh, but he's as far as anyone concerned, I would think so, right?
So until you prove that wasn't God, or that recording doesn't exist, or the burden of proof is entirely on you. I have first-hand message from God in an audio file that says, I am God and the earth is round.
I personally, I thought Barney was God. My whole world's turned around now, so I don't know what to think.
Why would you put limits on your God? Why couldn't that have been me?
That is true. You're right. Thank you. Wow. See, and that's why. That was awesome. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Got it.
Again, are you saying that that's impossible for an omnipotent being?
No, sir.
Who can create the entirety of the universe?
I would never doubt you again.
Yes. And since I'm omnibenevolent and omniscient, I know that is the best possible way to do this. Therefore, I have done it exactly that way.
Okay.
By having Blue post it in his voice on your Discord channel.
It's all part of the plan. All part of the plan. He knew this. Of course, he knew this would happen.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what else to say about it. I think we all should be in awe right now.
You've had an epiphany. Not an epiphany. You've had direct revelation.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, it couldn't possibly be mine.
Oh man, I'm too old for this shit.
Aren't we all?
6,000 years and counting.
Wait, 6? Hang on. How are you 6,000 years old, yet this world is billions of years old?
I wrote it down in the Bible. Look, I've given you a list of names and ages, and you just have to add them up. Right?
I'm not sure if that answered the question.
What was that? If you don't believe me, ask Bob. I told him that yesterday.
What?
So he can vouch for me.
This is all okay. Let's all close up shop. God's got it all figured out. We might as well just stop now and just open our arms. Let Jesus take the wheel. So be it.
So, Shanji, now that your search for truth is over, how do you feel? Your life's mission has been accomplished.
Tired. I want to take a nap. Not a long nap.
Oh wow, shit's getting real in Saudi Arabia today.
Oh, now what did you do now, God?
Apparently, there's rumors that the king
that was
died.
the other guy.
No.
Apparently, starting to break that the king may have died.
Ooh.
They have a king? Kings and
yeah,
queens
they have a king.
exist?
They do have a king, and they have a prince, and the prince is running the country more or less for the king. But if the king has died, then the prince is now the king. The king is dead. Long live the king.
And they had a bunch of overnight arrests as well, especially of those who would be considered rivals to the throne. We may be looking at a secession where they are trying to ward off a coup to start.
Wait. Are you talking like they're doing some Game of Thrones shit right now?
Hell yeah, they are.
Wait, that shit is real? Like, that is his bastard son. Kill him.
Oh no, these are blood sons that he's having that the crown prince is having in prison.
Like his brothers?
Yeah, like his actual blood brothers.
Damn.
And you thought we lived in the modern civilized world.
I like that way. People are crazy. Channel Q fucking shared a link and like Corona people in a collapsed building and 70 are missing and shit. We know that we'll hear about it. You know, the government collapsed the building so they could hide the fucking disease or the virus that's, you know, in the media already.
No, it was the Democrats.
Oh yeah, it's always them. They're racist, apparently.
Depends on what century you're in.
What state
well, they did found the KKK.
What?
The KKK was founded under Democrats, and they did oppose the Civil Rights Act up until LBJ was in power, so that they could claim it. It's a really funny, interesting reversal of politics.
Yeah, and the Black Panthers were made by the CIA.
Strange enough, they also used to be the party of lower taxes.
Yep.
Oh shit. Okay, so it was actually one of those. The collapse was actually one of those hospitals they built in 10 days too. So yeah, it wasn't.
Was it built by Trump's company?
That's not funny, but probably.
Oh, is this one of those Chinese hospitals?
Yeah, it collapsed and 70 are missing.
Shit.
I thought it was like a tent city or some shit. I didn't realize they actually built a fucking hospital. That seems like the worst idea ever.
I mean, maybe they thought they could build something like a modular hospital.
But even that wouldn't consist of 2 stories. It'd be 1 story and a bunch of buildings.
Well, that was fun, but it's cold outside, and it's 1 a.m., and I'm tired, and I'm going to go to sleep.
Yes, all right. Thank you, Barney. It was interesting.
And this was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, it was fun. I do appreciate it. I'm going to get out of here, too. I didn't say anything, but I effed up my shoulder the other day, so I'm all tired and my shoulder hurts, so I'm ready to go lay down. So life sucks on my end on that end, but it was fun. Yes, it did definitely take my mind off it, so I was happy about that.
Oh fuck! What was that movie? How High is like, what do you got for me? It's like, take that shit, Blaze 2. Call me in the morning, peace.
He's trying. That was almost funny. I give you A for effort on that one, though.
No, I've fully embraced it. Have you not read my name?
Yeah, I know. And I do appreciate it. It kind of just gets to the point. That's everyone just kind of, okay, got it. And then when you try, But that doesn't mean with the day when you are funny, it's going to be epic. We're going to stop everything. We're going to record it. We're going to play it. We're going to loop it. People are going to watch it because they want to hear it.
That'll be approximately 25 seconds before the meteor hits, I promise.
Damn,
We'll
give us more time than that. Come on.
That's it, if he's lucky. All right, I'm gonna get the X out of here. See, 1, 2, trying to find. Yes, Aaron, you're always confused. I'm so happy you didn't come on here. Other than that, let me see. All right, yeah. Okay, so guys, I do appreciate it. Stringray, Barney, you guys pretty much, ran the chat and talked and debated, and Stringray was ultimately wrong as usual. Poof. That's the way it should be. I am happy that Stringray is still alive. Earlier, he sounded like he may have died. Yeah, but other than that, I'm offensively seeking out Travis for answers. I'm ending the debate, people, and stop promoting Travis going on those other places where he keeps getting triggered. He don't need to be triggered to prove his point is wrong. Be nice. Just all be nice. But yes, I am back. I'm attacking Flat Earth, and all that is good for 0. Live on a damn globe, people. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and mute myself out of Discord and say goodbye to YouTube. Thank you guys again. All right, people, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I will not be live tomorrow, I don't think. Maybe. We'll see. Usually too many people go live. But I did have fun today. It was a good one. I do want, what I'm going to be doing is emailing Travis. I'm going to see if he wants to show up and have a little conversation tomorrow. If he doesn't, I may go do it on his channel. If I do, I'll share that link so you guys will know about it. Blah, blah, blah. But hopefully it'll be done here. But that's the way it is. With that being said, I am going to stop ranting and get the F out of here. Peace. A lot of you question whether or not I'm here for truth. Question if I was a real flat earther or not. Well, the reality of it is there are no flat earthers. There are only globe deniers. Oh, my apologies. Anyone that was wondering about about the UFC stuff, I'm not going to be showing the pay per view. If you guys have a free link, we'll be out there. I'll be on the UFC server and we'll watch it there. But I don't think that Romero and whatever his name is worth the pay per view, so I refuse to pay for it. But if we find the free link, we'll watch it. If not, we can just watch free other fight videos, all that good stuff. Let me know what you want to do, and I'll see you over at the server a little bit later on. Peace. You can deny evidence, but you can't deny truth. Flat Earth, you ask a lot of questions. It's time to answer some now.
These men go crazy. Legendary.
Perfect.
It's the one and only Deagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg.
Da 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 da. You know I'm mobbing with the D-R-E. Da 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 da. It's the one and only Deagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg.
Da 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 da. You know I'm mobbing with the D-R-E. Da 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 da. It's the one and only Deagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg.
Da 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 da. You know I'm mobbing with the D-R-E. Da 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 da. It's the one and only Deagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg.
Da 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 da. You know I'm mobbing with the D-R-E.
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. You ready for the next episode?
Deagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg.
Da 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 da. You know I'm mobbing with the D-R-E.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know the West Coast is back for all you suckers. So put something in there. Put it in there. Yeah. Sup, Snoop?
Top dog, buy them all, yeah, I'm burning it up. DPGC, you should be turning it up. CBT, LBC, yeah, we hooking back up. And when they bang this in the club, baby, you got to get up. Cuz homies, thug homies, yeah, they giving it up. Low life, yo life, boy, we living it up. Taking chances while we dancing in the party for show. Slip my girl a 44 when she crept in the back door. Chickens looking at me strange, but you know I don't care. Step on Deagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg.
Da 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 da. You know I'm mobbing with the Deagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg.
Da 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 da. You know I'm mobbing with the D-R-E.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know the West Coast is back for all you suckers. So put something in there. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. You ready for the next episode? It's the one and only D.R.E. Dr. Dre, love Buster. You know I'm mobbing with the D.O.G. Straight off them killer streets of CPT. King of the beach, you ride to him in your fleet. Wood, the Ville rolling on dubs. How you feel? Whoop-de-whoop. What? Dre and Snoop hitting corners in the lag. With Doc in the back, sipping on Jack. Clipping on the amps, dipping through hood. Compton, Long Beach, Inglewood. South Central out to the west side. It's California love, it's California bug. Got your boy a gang of pub. I'm on one, I might bell up in the Century Club. With my jeans on, and my team strong. Get my drink on, and my smoke on. Then go home with something to poke on. Locust song for the 2 triple O. Coming real, it's the next episode.